there is a voice you would walk into darkness to hear again. You already know whose voice it is. This story is about what happens when the darkness knows that too. On the eastern edge of a village so small the maps forgot it, there was a forest the villagers had no name for. Not out of ignorance, but out of something older than language. A deliberate refusal to give it a name. Because to name a thing, they believed, was to invite it closer. The forest sat behind the last row of houses like a held breath. Ancient trees so thick and close that even moonlight turned gray inside them. The village children were told 3 rules. Never enter after dark, never answer if you hear your name, and never, under any circumstances, believe what the trees say about the dead. The disappearances had no pattern at first. A farmer in autumn, a young widow in spring, an old man who had buried his last son and simply, one morning, was not in his house anymore. The villagers would find a lantern left on the tree line. Nothing else. Those who returned, and very few did, described the same thing. Not a monster, not darkness, a voice. Someone they had lost, calling from just far enough inside the trees that they could almost see who it was. The story they still tell in the village is about a woman called Mara. She had lost her daughter 3 years before to a fever that came one February and never left. 8 years old. The daughter had a habit of calling for her mother in the night. A small, sweet voice that traveled easily through the walls of their thin house. Mama, I'm cold. Mara had learned to sleep with that absence. The way you learn to walk with a stone lodged somewhere in your chest, not gone, just carried. She had accepted, the way adults accept the unbearable, by building a wall inside herself. Room by room, brick by brick, and from the tree line, from the black space between the trunks. She heard it. Mama, soft as breath. Exactly the right pitch. Exactly the way her daughter used to stretch the word. She took one step toward the trees, then another. Her neighbor found her at dawn, standing at the tree line with bare feet and her hands pressed flat against the bark of the first tree. Eyes open, breathing, alive. But she never spoke about what she heard next. Not once. Not even at the end of her life, when people asked. She would only close her eyes slowly, the way people close their eyes when a thing is too large to look at directly, and change the subject. The village is gone now, grown over, absorbed, forgotten by the road that bypassed it somewhere in the last century. But the forest is still there. We tell ourselves we are too modern for forests that speak, too rational for voices in the dark. And yet, every one of us carries a name we are afraid to say out loud because saying it reopens something. The forest is not waiting for the weak. It is waiting for those who loved something too much to ever fully let it go. It is waiting, in other words, for almost all of us.